Welcome to today's podcast. My guest today is Klara Brown. After moving forward from divorce, Klara has been able to step into her own by creating an extraordinary life for herself with her now husband of 22 years. Klara has over 2 decades experience as a professional counselor and a woman-centered transformational coach. She's a longtime student of professional development and spiritual principles. Her journey began with overcoming severe trauma from her early years. Her daughter served as a catalyst for change as Klara was determined to become the greatest mother she could be for her daughter. Klara believes that there's always a way to escape difficult situations and live a life of your own choosing. Her passion is centered around relationships and success, where she's on a mission to help women discover and reinvent themselves after divorce to create the confidence they need to live an extraordinary life. So welcome to the podcast, Klara.
Well, thank you so much. I have done so many things, and before I came and to seeing you, I had this. I love to do meditation every morning. This is the way I start, my day. I have to, and I will share you a little bit and later. But really, I was asking myself, so what is about it? What I really would like to, and share. And so it's really not about me showing up here, but it's about, what's available for women. And this is what I would like you to bring it into this conversation, what's available to really focusing, to help women to stepping into what you said is the highest potential and self-actualization. And meanwhile, I had to grow with them,
Yeah.
So it's not that easy.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about this journey that you've come across, because we all have to kind of go through something in order to be able to get to the other side and share and try to bring people over with us. So tell a little bit more about your journey and how it has led to where you are today.
My work and working with people is not just because, there I had a professional training as a psychotherapist, but really from my own personal experience. And relationship was always my the most closest yearning to learn about relating to myself and others, and continue to discovering, and how we can connect to another human being. Then it brings unity, it brings self-love, it brings partnership. And I believe it's the most difficult and most complex task in everybody's life. So I was married a couple times, or I was married and divorced a couple times. The first time I was married when I was 18, and my husband was an alcoholic. But I had a beautiful daughter from him, and we divorced. And, I made a mistake that I definitely recommend, please don't follow. Someone showed up and say, "Oh, Klara, let me help you going through this difficult time." And I said, "Oh, yes."
Okay. Yeah.
Very quickly. You know what I mean? Very quickly. And he was a wonderful man. He was kind. He was generous. He took care of us. This is the man who is responsible and coming to the state. I was born in Hungary. So he was a wonderful man. And was very interesting. After 5 years, I divorced him for the same reason. I was unhappy, I was dissatisfied and unfulfilled in this relationship. And so that's what was really questioned from me is 2 different men, the abusive and not because he was a bad person, but he was an alcoholic. And now there is a man who is just wonderful and kind, and I'm ended up with the same kind of result in divorce. So that was the first time I started to question is like, they are the problem, or what's really going on with me. And I believe, that when we are in relationship and we have a lot of broken relationship or divorce, is that we continue to finding the right partner until we discover is what is my role, what is the theme, what is my pattern to continue to creating the same kind of relationships. And so I divorced, and of course I thought, second time, it's like, yes, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be free. And But no matter what, also I discovered, no matter what, you choosing to leave the relationship or your partner choosing it really doesn't matter. It's definitely a sense of loss.
Mhm.
And you have to be connecting to what is that means, because all of your dream, all of the future, put yourself into what could be, it was lost. You lost that. So there is definitely a grieving process, but I didn't know anything. So I was working hard, hang out on the weekend, parties, to free. And very, very quickly I fall into a depression. And a friend of mine, after a few months, that time, it was a long time ago, there is no therapy. I didn't think about it. I have to take a medication of it. So a friend of mine invited to the party, and these people were giving a meditation retreat. And that was the first time I was introduced to spirituality and learning about and to connecting back to myself. And it was magical. 3 days later, because there was a 3 days retreat, 3 days later, my depression was lifted. It's just all of a sudden this heaviness, this, I was carrying for months and probably years and years all of my life, it was just lifted. And I got hooked. I don't know, it's like what we love. And I really, really loved that, what the meditation does for people.
Mm-hmm.
And also I discovered that's not enough. You have to know about the people.
Yes.
And the second milestone for me is really helped me and, in this journey and where I am today, I was attending a seminar. And this seminar was actually looking your past, looking at all the things what's happened up until now and that time. And what I discovered during this seminar is in order to moving forward, creating a life that you absolutely love, you have to, you don't have a choice, really. You have to let go of the past.
Mm.
Without that, again, you can still, you can live a life, but it's all about surviving. But it's really will miss the thriving part that the life is about. And this let it go at the first time, I had to forgive my parents. And that was another major milestone for me to free up. And the people who hurt me up until now, as you mentioned, I had a lot of trauma. And let it go the past by forgiving all the people who hurt me, including my parents. It's opened up the world for me. And getting into after that, I want to be and teaching people. I want to more learning, and that's how I ended up at Naropa University back in Boulder. It's a Buddhist school, have my master's degree in psychology.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the journey keep continue, and here I am. I'm still looking. What's next? How can I help people? So that's it's nutshell, and a lot of ups and downs and pain. It wasn't a straight line.
No, none of it is it? I mean, when you're talking about, letting go of the past and you have to do that. Otherwise you're in the survival mode. I just had this picture of my head of just like all this baggage and it's just like weighing you down from the past. And if you don't let go of it, it's going to sink the ship or, it's going to hold you back from really what your potential is. So you found that for yourself and you're moving that forward by trying to help people do the same thing. So, yeah,
I
so
love your analogy when you said that, the picturing. It's almost like, it's like you show up and you want to meet a person and say, you're carrying the baggage, you know what I mean? You're just pulling behind you. You think so good and free and ready to have a relationship. You're carrying the baggage, you stop, you meet someone and say, hey, I'm here, I'm free. Can we meet?
yeah, yes.
All this pile of things that is hanging between you, and you wonder why, relationship doesn't work.
Yeah, because and then we come to their doorstep and we plop it on their doorstep one day. And it's just like,
Yes.
this is me. And you're like, oh, I didn't have no idea. But it's you're teaching people how to deal with that themselves so they don't bring it into another relationship.
Correct. And this is the first things, people want to realize even when we're getting into the relationship is really, the relationship is about healing, healing the past. But the first time, it always shows up a lot of fight, a lot of fight between couples, because in order to heal something, you have to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Otherwise it's not there, right?
It is not there. And if you, this is one of the first things I'm teaching with, because I not just working with women, but couples also, that is, if you recognized, your partner is not your enemy, and whatever is comes up is really understanding each other reaction and how we are communicating so we can help each other, rather than you don't, my needs is not met in the relationship.
Right. I mean, you're there in that relationship for a reason. There was something that connected you. But now after you get more comfortable, oftentimes in relationships, then we start like nitpicking, and yeah, you're not meeting my needs, but if we flip it around, how are we meeting their needs? And are we understanding the patterns? I feel like there's lots of patterns in relationships, but
The rest of your life. It's like I'm still, and today I'm been married for 23 years. And it was very interesting, Peggy, is that I was single about 15 years, learning about, myself, and went to school, and I was top of the, I was so comfortable who I was getting into the relationship. And 3 years later, I was ready to divorce, because you can't learn. You can, but when you are in relationship, really you could see that, what are the patterns, what we are dealing with, and I realized it's like, oh my gosh, it's everything what I learned here is reality. Again, it's not my partner problem, it's my problem, what I'm not seeing, what I'm not bringing. And when I recognize, I have an awesome relationship, 23 years, because I'm continue to discovering some patterns when it's still coming up, and it's never ending.
Right. I mean, I feel like we can know it up here and we can go, oh yeah, this is how I'm going to react in this situation. I'm not going to get my buttons pushed or whatever to start that. And then we're in the moment and that all goes out the window.
Totally. Yeah. And it's like, and one thing, at least at the beginnings, people don't understand. You do not have a choice to not react. You do react. We are, and it's that, like someone push our button, it's just like,
yeah.
But as you're learning to step back just a little bit and take a breath, and it takes time and practice, because, again, that's the most difficult, to learning. And people come to and see me, and we just have a communication problem, of course, because we are reacting constantly, and I still doing it, and I have to back off, and I have to see, it's like, oh my gosh, my 12 years old, child part of me who can't stand when someone tell me no.
Oh, come on.
You know what I mean? It's like, and I have to see it, it's like,
And you have to stop ourselves, right?
yeah, and so it's like I have to take a breath.
Yeah.
And by practice, this gap, it's getting a smaller and smaller. You're more able to managing your emotion. You're more able to recognize is yours, is not your partner's.
Right.
And that's how we deal with emotions, to recognize ours. So we're not blaming our partner, and you did this to me, or you shouldn't do that, so I don't feel angry or upset or alone.
Yeah. So it's taking personal responsibility for how we respond and our own emotions and the thoughts that get us to respond in certain ways, which are often patterns from our history and our long experience. But we can relearn things. And what you're saying is if we, we can catch ourselves, we can squeeze down or shorten the response, or we can change it. We can notice it sooner and then stop it from going on. Like, oh yeah, that's going to lead to something that I don't want.
Correct.
So
Well,
what
I
is
want to say that, I want to say one thing when you said, and I don't want, is more like when we recognize something was negative, and rather when you say it's like, I don't want it, it's become bigger. So it's first I'm recognizing it, those emotions, those reaction as a sign, as a signal,
Mhm.
what is my next steps. So again, I'm sorry I'm interrupting, but
No,
that's
go
very
ahead.
interesting because most of us, okay, I don't want that.
Mhm.
I don't want to be, reactive. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be whatever it is. I don't want to. And when we don't want to, it's become bigger.
Mm.
So one of the things when I'm inviting, when people listening to or seeing this podcast to recognize that is rather than saying, I don't want it, what do I want?
Mhm. Yeah.
Because that moment you are training your brain to focusing on where you're going rather when it's something unfavorable or
Mhm.
something even painful.
Right.
And we more recognize those emotional challenges. It is building your muscle, your
Yeah.
emotional muscle. It's like, oh, I'm frustrated and angry. Where is coming from? And where do I want to go?
Right. So you're basically telling us to slow down, take a breath. These emotions are messages. And what is it trying to tell you? And instead of focusing on what you don't want, because what you focus on expands. So if you focus on what you don't want, you actually get more of that. So change your focus to what is it that you do want.
Right.
And then that create that space, take that next step, that next action to creating what you want.
Right. Yes. And it's again, there is a practice because so easy to, we say is like, I don't like to be, who likes to be angry? Who likes to be depressed? Who likes to be anxious?
Right.
And, and the first reaction is like, I cannot tolerate that.
Mhm.
And more I'm pushing it away or I don't pay attention. It's again, what you said, it just piles up. It's piles up. It's piles up.
Right. Right. So you've gone through so much, and I know, letting go is a huge thing and being centered and kind of knowing yourself. So does that what other kind of programs have you kind of gone through or going through to kind of help you move in this direction of helping more people in their relationships step into their own power and be the person that they really, really want to be?
Mm. Oh my gosh, how much, I can writing up
Oh,
like that.
I know. It's too much. It's too
It's
much.
so people because was always, it's like, I don't know, from early, the moment when I discovered there is a power of really focusing when we're focusing on ourselves, learning about self. And that's the moment my life is really turned into what can I learn? How can I learn more about that?
Mhm.
And looking for what is the highest easiest way. I don't know is the easiest. That's kind of goofy what I'm saying. There is no easiest, but it's simplest,
Mhm.
not easy, but
Yeah.
simplest way. And the highest way of relating, connecting, discovering, living a life, free from suffering. So I took
Mhm.
a lots of program, really a lot. And when pandemic came and everything was shut down and learned to how you can put your courses or even
Mhm.
therapy online. And that was a challenge for a lot of challenge because I don't know anything technology. I've been studying with Dean Graziosi, Tony Robbins
Right.
recently, and I have a master salesman and a powerful mentor for business and John Assaroff,
Mhm.
Mary Morrissey, the
Yes.
dream builders. So these
Yes.
are the big guys, and I'm so grateful to I call them as mentors.
Mhm.
And but also I discovered that as a woman,
Mhm.
okay, we need women mentors.
Yeah.
I love Tony Robbins. I love all these guys,
Mhm.
their coaching and but it's still very muscular,
Mhm.
to where you at, where you want to go, and let's to work on the gap.
Right.
And so this lady and Claire Zamit, she's from Australia, and I believe, and we can ask. I heard from other mentors, she is the one who's brought into for women that that level of coaching program that helps them to not just, how will I say that? It's not just the simplest coaching program, but it's a transformational. That transformation where it's actually irreversible. You know, when we transform the cocoon, you know, cocoon is go through this all kind of, things and challenges to become a butterfly.
Yeah.
But that butterfly never goes back to cocoon.
No, no, it can't.
No, it's not. And so that's her program. It's a
Mm.
feminine power and become again what I'm learning. This is my next learning, to become a woman-centered transformational coach.
Yes.
And again, really to speak to women, the women who want to be self-actualized. I believe that this is a woman who is making a difference in the world, not just in their life. They are leaders for themselves, the family, and the world. And so I've been studying with her since last year. And again, there is a coaching program, the Feminine Power, where I'm trained to be and coaching people. And also there is a facilitator program when you can, we bring it into our program of training, to more people.
Right.
And I love the learning part. I love that, there is always a next step. There is always, and not that young chick anymore. Like, I would love to show up, it's
Right.
And I'm so grateful because, I went to school late. So I met beautiful women, 20 years younger. So, but I still, I don't have 40 years to making a difference, And so I'm very excited, I really, my goal is to leave a legacy, that my life worth living.
Right.
And that's huge.
Yes, it is. I think
It
that's
is,
what everybody wants.
everybody wants, but very few people, sometimes I feel like it's like, oh, is everybody does what I do, but the reality is really not.
Right.
We're surviving to born and live the life and we go 6 feet under. Sorry, but that's the life. But how we can see our life, people were born. This is why I'm so excited, because that's a spiritual part.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm really excited about it because we were born with a gift. And especially women, to want to make, because women who is really not giving to, whatever their gift is. When we discover the gift, we want to give it away.
Yeah.
And then we're focusing on that as life is worth living.
Yes.
It's not surviving anymore. It's about the purpose. It's about, I believe, and that's why I was born. I don't know, but it's a really good feelings to know that I look back in my rocking chair,
Yeah.
but I'm going to be, I hope I have a few more years. So,
oh yeah,
look back and then I said, yeah, it wasn't easy. It was very challenging, but it's worth it.
Right. Right.
And that's what I would like to, and giving to women, and their life is worth of living, and who they are. They deserve to be happy. They deserve to be and become who they want to be, and it is possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I could just hear and see your energy and your passion, that you're blending all of this together to be able to help women transform their lives into a beautiful, just stepping into their purpose and creating this extraordinary life that creates ripple effects for everyone else around them. So it's so very powerful. And your story is featured in a book, Women Living on Purpose. Is that correct?
Yes, I that was a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, is a collaborative, other 19 women, and was all about, to how these women, including me, we turn our mess into a message.
Yeah.
And I believe and when we are really connecting to our challenges and we were able to overcome that, women wants that, and because everybody, can learn therapy. Everybody even can learn, coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of competition out there. But when you're really sharing your personal experience, when you can really know, because I know I've been there,
Yeah.
It's great trust, it's great connection. I want, when I'm working and someone relate to me and say, hey, I know what's that be like,
Yeah.
and so in this book is really about everything what I'm, sharing a little bit and more condensed, is I believe there is always another way.
Yes. Yes.
It's always another way. And yes, we get challenged, we get stuck, we had, sometimes if we don't pay attention, it takes a little bit longer, but there is always the way to getting out of it, and that's highly my life. This is how I want to teach women.
Mm-hmm.
And because listen, what I just say, I'm not really put men down. I have a very, very deep appreciation for them,
Right.
because those men who around us, these powerful women, sorry for it. I really have appreciation for them. And so I'm not putting them down, okay? But it's really allowing a woman to stepping into and understanding their own power rather than compete with the man or
Right.
become a man.
Yeah.
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 And it's a very different way of living.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved, was an opportunity to put together this, part in my little bit of my life, and to sharing that, we have a gift, we want to give it away.
Yes.
And it is, if you don't, I believe we suffer.
Mm-hmm. Great. So awesome. We could go on for a long, long time. Where can people find more out about you?
Well, it's definitely I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, definitely I've it's Klara Brand, and you can find through on Facebook, you can DM me. And
I'll put all of that in the show notes.
yeah, so that's it, they can find it, and but again, right now is my website is needed to upgrade it as I'm upgrading myself. You
Right.
have
We
to
all need that.
yes, definitely.
So good. As we wrap up today, is there a thought or quote you would like to leave the listeners with?
Yeah, is that your past is not equal with your future. And no matter, how much difficulty, challenges you went through, there is always, what I said, to create the life that you absolutely love. And and also is another quote that I really love, that is basically is from, taught by Tony Robbins. The life is not happened to you, but happened for you. And when we see and whatever was, we experiencing challenges is a benefit we can create, and we can be, and, in control and creating the life that we absolutely love.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, Klara. Check out Klara. I'll put the show notes in, face, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I'll put all of that. It's been a pleasure talking with you today. Relationships, stepping into our own power, living life because it's happening for us, and we always have that choice on how
You.
we're going to respond. So
Yes.
thank you so much, Klara.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Peggy. Thanks a lot.